So the song we just listened to by NDRE, I Am Light, plays right into what we're going to talk about today. The power of those two words is absolutely incredible. I am. First time we really noticed those words was when God and Moses were talking. And Moses said, "What do I call you?" or "Who are you?" Or he asked the question. And the answer was, "I am who I am." Now notice, "I am" is said twice there. And there's great significance in that. The reason it's said twice is the first "I am" signifies being. God is. Period. There need be no addition to that. God is infinite, so God is everything. The second "I am" is what is coming forth. So here's God, all in all, yet still coming forth. It can be no other way. If it is any other way, then God is not infinite. And if God is not infinite, then how can we really say that we're one with God? How can we really say that we're expressions of God? How can we say anything along those lines? So God is and is coming forth, which is beautiful when you think about it, because it plays into our lives as well. Our divine expression comes forth through our thoughts. The "I am" thoughts and words manifest as our experience and our perceived reality. Okay? So as one with God, that "I am" statement is true for us as well. Now, in our material state, in our human state, with the ego that is needed to experience this world, "I am" can't really stand alone, because the ego says, "Oh, I got to add something to that." "I am" doesn't make sense to stop right there. That says I'm everything. That says I'm all. That says I'm equal to God. So the ego has to start adding. And we add all kinds of stuff. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's not so good. Dr. Wayne Dyer said, "Every single thought you have can be assessed in terms of whether it strengthens or weakens you." So if I have an "I am" thought that is empowering, I'm strengthening. If I have an "I am" thought that is disempowering, it weakens. "I am" is more than just a thought. When we initially have it, it's a thought. But it becomes empowered because "I am" is also a declaration. It becomes a guidance system for our experience and our expression into life. What we attach either strengthens or weakens, and the thought either empowers or causes harm. The thoughts that we have within become expressions into our daily life. They become declarations into our daily life. They become demands into our daily life. Excuse me. The negative thoughts that we add to "I am", they are so strong that they can actually weaken our internal organs and lead us directly into illness. They're powerful. Now, it doesn't mean that, I'm going to be sick today. That's not the kind of thoughts I'm talking about. Thoughts like "I'm not good enough." Thoughts like I am weak." Thoughts like I am cursed. Anything that you add to "I am" that's negative weakens our whole structure, our whole physical structure even, and leads directly into stress, which leads directly into illness. On the other hand, the positive and empowering thoughts added to "I am" lifts and supports our human form, and more importantly, they lift and support and open us to the spiritual experience, the spiritual truth that is within us, that is us. The use of empowering thoughts is a practice. It's not something that we just, today I'm just going to stop thinking negative thoughts. You can say that, but if you don't practice that, if you don't put it into practice and tune in to what's actually playing in your mind, you're not going to get there. So you have to practice it, and once you start practicing, it does become habitual. And this is one of the good habits that you would like to build up, and then it becomes a lifestyle. This goes back to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where when we build a foundation on truth, on the truth of who we are, capital T truth, God truth, when we build our foundation on that, make that our knowing, our belief, our thoughts start reflecting that belief and that knowing. We have to believe it. If there's any doubt that you are an individual expression of God, that you are one with God, if there's any doubt whatsoever, those negative thoughts are going to pop on you all the time. So you got to be tuned in to what it is. So the greatest thing to know about the truth of I am is that the truth of who you are is enough. You don't have to add anything to it. If you're so confident and you embody that foundation of your truth as one with God. When you can embody that, you don't have to add anything else. I am says it all. But oftentimes this I am can be used as an affirmation to help us know more about our foundation, to understand more about our foundation. So, the I am, you can add to it if you want to, but just know that your truth, you need not add anything. But if you choose to add anything to it, obviously add the positive things. But there's even an issue with adding the positive and the empowering additions. Because sometimes we add something. Well, I know somebody who, well, I'm going to laugh, it's Kathy. She'll sneeze a couple of times. I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy. And she gets into these positive affirmations. Now, and it usually works, it usually works for her. Usually works pretty well for her. But see, now there's a difference. There's two different ways of doing this. One is what she does, and it's that force. I'm healthy, I'm healthy. She's like driving out that possible germ. You know, it's like taking a whip after it. Get out. The other way to do this is in just knowing truth. We can try to force it, or we can just know. Sometimes you have to force it to get to where you can know it. But what happens when you try to force it is you're using your energy on that fight against what you're trying to change. And that energy becomes a focus on what you're trying to change, and that often overpowers what you're trying to change it into. So force uses energy and not always in a positive way. Knowing, on the other hand, knowing is making a statement and just with all your heart believing it. There is no doubt that what I speak is truth. Think about the energy levels that the two require. One is a battle, one is flow. Even if you're not totally there in the knowing, the fact that your focus is on knowing that truth, you're not putting your focus out there on what you're trying to change. This empowers. So forget the fight. It doesn't do you any good. In fact, it can cause more harm than good. but know your truths. Here's a little side note, though. We think that when we know something, I am one with God. I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. The knowing part is true in a whole, yet it still expands. My understanding of it still expands. It's not rigid. It's not that I know this and I'm done. Okay? So know that you're healthy. You're not done. You just know that you're healthy right now, and that health is going to continue expanding and elevating, growing, becoming. So to summarize what we've talked about so far, I am is a complete statement. Sometimes we have to convince ourselves of it because our human side tries to tell us different. Our truth is that I am is enough. It's sufficient. All there is. To get there, we sometimes need help, and we can use affirmations to do that. Those affirmations we can either force or we can know. I suggest knowing. All of this and everything we talk about in here is about opening your understanding of truth. So, how do we put this into play? How do we actually use this in our lives? The first step is to open yourself to the power, the wholeness, and the oneness that is the truth of I am. This is a bold claim. This is a bold declaration. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff happening in this world that's going to say, you don't know what you're talking about. Who are we going to choose, this world or God? The creator of all or the result of the creator of the creator? I am is literally a declaration, and you stand tall in it. To open yourself to the power of I am thinking, awareness is key. We talked about it a few minutes ago. You've got to be aware of your thoughts. You've got to be aware of your beliefs. You've got to be aware even of your doubts. It's not that you allow those doubts to hold any power over you, but you've got to know where they are if you want to make any changes. So tune in. What's going on in your mind? Kathy has a thing that it's a lot of fun. She just goes, I wonder. She just checks in. How does this play out? What am I thinking? Okay, well, if this happens, how does that... it can cover a whole gamut of things, but it causes her to tune in. Mine that I usually do is, what am I thinking now? I catch myself, especially on... did some tractor work the other day, and while I was on the tractor, it was like just numb, which isn't a bad thing sometimes, by the way. Sometimes it's nice to turn everything off. But when I catch myself doing that, I often check in. What am I thinking now? What was that last thought right there? Because when you're numb, a lot of negative stuff can come in as easily as the positive stuff. So checking in allows you to know what's going on. Once you realize the thought, the feeling, whatever you're experiencing that moment, just ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this serving my highest good? Is this expanding my understanding of my foundation, of my oneness with God? Or is it trying to talk me out of all that? Just tune in. Everyone at some point has had negative thoughts. Those thoughts, I mentioned a few of them earlier, but it's I could do better, I could do more, I could be thinner, I could be more attractive, I could be richer. We go all over the place. But it doesn't always come across in those I am statements. Sometimes it comes across as I don't make enough money, look at that unattractive person in the mirror. it comes in many forms. So you got to tune in. You just got to know what's going on. Understand that the negative I am is an ego-driven thought. There is no truth behind that. That is a manipulation sometimes trying to get you to protect yourself from a risk that the ego sees. But most of the time, it's just to get you to be controlled. The ego is built on what the world says is right, wrong, or indifferent. And that ego wants to be in control. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just that's a tool that we use, our spirit uses to interact with this world. And the world dictates what the ego tells you. So make no mistake, these I am thoughts can be negative, but man, they can be positive too. That's the ones you want to tune into. Those are the ones you want to empower. Practice those through those affirmations. Build yourself up. In a lot of my coaching and team development programs, I teach what's called a twofer. When you catch yourself in a negative thought, do not beat yourself up. Do not talk about how stupid you were for letting yourself go there, because there's just another negative thought you got to deal with. Give yourself a twofer. Oh, I just had a negative thought. Now I have to have 2 positive I ams about me. So for every negative, give yourself 2 positives. Build that bank of positivity, that bank of power, that bank of truth. Build that up. Put in every deposit into that bank account as you possibly can. Because that is what opens your awareness to truth. If we're so focused on the negative stuff and the negative thoughts, we are not going to be able to tune in and open our understanding of truth. We've got to break through those negative thoughts, not through force, but through knowing. We've got to know truth. And as we know truth, truth expands. So create positive I am statements. Don't force them. Just allow your knowing and your truth to be your expression into those affirmations. So right now I want you to take a breath and say to yourself, I am. Breathe it in. And again, I am. Along with this, know that all the attributes, goodness, and love of God are within you as your truth. That's what it means to claim, to declare, I am. So take a breath. Just know that's your truth. And join me in prayer as we close today. The prayer that I want to read it was written by Mother Teresa. It's an absolutely beautiful prayer, so I'm just going to read it to you. It's called Do It Anyway. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend your years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. And together we say amen.